What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an Arsenal inventory update to do for you guys. Vinyl this time. And we're going to diversify things up just a tiny little bit. But beneath the diversity, there's lies some very torturous metal. And y'all are going to see what I'm talking about here when I get this started here. I got a handful of records to show you here, and the first record is going to seem a little bit familiar to some of you guys. This was one of the first things I talked about when I did that video for Head Split Records earlier in the year, and this recently got the vinyl treatment, and I honestly think that this is an album that definitely deserves to be listened to if you are into genuine death metal. This is Torture Rack with Barbaric Persecution. Yeah. I don't really need to say too much about this release than what I've already talked about it before, but let me just refresh your memory just a little bit. This was originally released on tape through Head Split Records, released as a CD through Memento Mori, and I believe that Parasitic Records put out the vinyl version of this. But these guys are a death metal band based out of Portland, Oregon, and they play a style of death metal that very much backs up the type of imagery this band shows. Very ancient, very dirty, very filthy. This is genuine death metal to the roots and to the heart. And I really love what a band like this brings to death metal with their look, their style, their artwork, their music. This is just genuine death metal. I love the riffs, I love the vocals. Just some serious business going on here with a release like this, but it really makes you, it makes anybody who's into death metal really appreciate something like this. I mean, songs like Chamber of Morbidity, the aforementioned Open Casket Funeral Puker, Coffin Breath, Beheaded for the Bloodbath. Seriously insane death metal stuff. And if you haven't by any chance listened to this band or heard this release, I really would recommend you give this band an album an opportunity. Get it whatever format you're able to get it on, especially this vinyl version, because this is really, really cool. So let me show you the front cover here. Really badass job here on the front cover artwork. Back cover, very, very nice. Track listing, Parasitic Records put this out. Good label and distro, by the way. Got a lyric sheet here with lyrics and information and stuff. Back with the band members, looking all barbaric and masculine and angry and shit. That's one thing I love about Torture Rack, is they have the look to back up the music that they make. I believe this is limited to 300 copies, and this comes on a standard black vinyl. Very cool center labeling going on here for the A side and the B side. Very, very well done record here. Very good job. Good sound overall. But yeah, this is some top quality death metal. Check out Torture Rack with Barbaric Persecution. Parasitic Records put out the vinyl. Absolutely worth checking out. Next up, we got a 2016 release, and this is a release that kind of took me by surprise. This was a little better than I thought it was going to be. This is Bat with Wings of Chains. 2016 Hell's Headbangers Records, and this is the band. This is one of the many bands to be spun off from Municipal Waste, because pretty much, if you know the band Municipal Waste, pretty much everyone in the band has side projects going on. I mean, if you, off the top of my head, I'm thinking of stuff like Cannabis Corpse, Iron Reagan, Brain Tentacles, Vulture. And of course, this band, Bat, being the side project of one of their guitar players, Ryan Waste. I saw this band at Hell's Head Bash last year, and I thought they did a pretty solid job, and the demo that they put out sounded good too. But thanks to a good local friend of mine who had ordered a copy of this, he was given 2 copies. And out of the sheer kindness of his heart, he offered me the second copy of it. I was like, sure, I'd love to give this a shot, man. I really, really appreciate this. And I'm glad I did give this album a shot, because this is a really solid piece of speed metal. I mean, you can easily tell there's a lot of 80s influence going on with a project like this. You get that really deep Venom and Motorhead vibe going on with a release like this. From the vocals, I really love Ryan's vocals on this release. I really think he does a badass job with the vocal style for this release. As far as the music goes, it's straight up old school of speed and thrash and heavy metal influences going on here. Bloodhounds, Primitive Age, Rule of the Beast. Seriously solid stuff. If you've heard the demo stuff, then you'll probably find something to enjoy here with Wings of Chains. I really think this is an awesome release, especially for this being just a power trio. They really get the job done here with a release like this. This is a very impressive debut, and I will hope to hear more soon from them. So anyway, here's the front cover. Digging the spot gloss on this this jacket here. Back cover, track listing, band members and credits. Comes with a lyric sheet. Pretty glossy lyric sheet going on here with lyrics and credits. Photo collage. As you can see, this is a band that's pretty well established at this point right now. Stick it back in here. And I don't know the vinyl imitation to be specific. I know there are different colorways. I know there was a picture disc version, standard black vinyl, and the copy that I have is on a standard white vinyl. Very old school center labels going on here. Yeah, very solid LP. If you're into speed metal, if you're into any of the projects that Ryan Waste is involved in, Bat will be something worth checking out for you. So again, this is Wings of Chains by Bat. Check this out. Next up, we head to the Gulf Coast for some blasphemous grindcore. This is Hippo Christians with Terror During Prayer. I want to say this was released in 2011. I could be wrong, but this was released through Haunted Hotel Records. And I was at Hogwild Records the other day, not too long ago, dropping off flyers, and I was just browsing through their used section. And I found this Hippo Christians record, and then I remember going way, way back to the early days of when I was making YouTube videos, and I was subscribed to my buddy Seven, Yak Sniffer, and I remember him talking about the band Hippo Christians. I don't remember if he ever showed off a record, or if he talked about a band, about something. He mentioned Hippo Christians, and the name of that band really stuck to me. These guys are based out of Houston, Texas, and these guys are basically a bunch of really awesome people involved in some seriously very well-known projects within Houston hardcore and grindcore, preferably bands like Heavy Roach Activity, HRA for short, and Splatteria. Very, very cult Texas grindcore band, but those people are involved in a project like Hippo Christians, and this release is pretty much straight up filthy and dirty grindcore as it gets. It doesn't sound pretty, it doesn't feel pretty, the vocals are very ugly and nasty, the musicianship is top-notch. I like the approach that a band like Hippo Christians brings to grindcore with a release like Terror During Prayer. I mean, this is not the type of stuff you would expect to hear for a grindcore release. This is pretty much black metal-esque in a sense, pretty much going against the system and religion and all this other stuff. It's grisly stuff. But I think this album really is awesome to listen to. This band's put out a bunch of releases throughout the years, but this particular release is something very special, I would say. And I'm glad that I was able to acquire it. So, front cover, old school artwork on this. Back cover, Haunted Hotel Records. And comes on a standard black vinyl, but I really love the labels on this thing, especially the A-side. You look at the A-side here. Play This Loud. Yeah, Play This Loud. This is fucking badass. Yeah. Haunted Hotel Records on the back here. Very, very cool. But yeah, if you're into grindcore, definitely look up something like Hippo Christians. Very much worth your time. And look up Heavy Roach Activity too, Splatteria, if you really want to get into that lesser-known, extreme Texas grind stuff. But yeah, this is Hippo Christians with Terror During Prayer. Really awesome. We venture into heavy metal territory next with these next couple of records. This is another 2016 release, and this is another album that really took me by surprise, and I ended up eventually loving it. This is Summerlands with their self-titled album, Summerlands. This is one of the many musical projects of a guy by the name of Arthur Risk. You may best know him for being a very well-established man behind the scenes, being a producer and mixing and mastering music, but he also has his chops in being in actual bands. Preferably, earlier in the year with the Armor of Ire from Eternal Champion. I believe he plays drums on this band, for that band. But as far as Summerlands is concerned, he plays the guitar. And Summerlands is a very interesting band to think about, because they play a style of metal that's very much reminiscent of classic early 80s stuff, or even earlier than that. I mean, I really think of stuff like maybe Manila Road or Sirith Ungol or something to that nature. Very mythical, very fantasy-driven, very much a lot of love being brought forward with the content that a band like Summerlands brings. But the music itself is a joy to listen to. There is so much great things going on with a release like this. I really love the music being brought here. I love the guitar playing done on here. It really is one of the major highlights for me of this entire release. A lot of great drumming, a lot of great singing. There's such a great amount of catchiness to be heard with a release like this. I mean, songs like The Seventh Seal, Time Lash, Haunted Forever, just some really amazing songs to be heard on a release like this. If you're into traditional heavy metal, a band like Summerlands will definitely be the medicine that cures you, so to speak. But anyway, here's the front cover. Digging the matte finish on this. I believe Jose Smith did the artwork. Look up Jose Smith. He makes some great artwork. Back cover here, very simplistic. Comes with a printed lyric sheet. Got some more artwork going on here. Black and white artwork. Lyrics on the back and the big logo of the band right here. And luckily I was able to get one of the limited versions of this. This is limited to 300 copies, and this vinyl color is absolutely beautiful. This is gold on blue splatter. I mean, you gotta see this thing in person in order to get a grasp of what I'm talking about here. But the vinyl color is absolutely beautiful. It sounds wonderful too. They did a fantastic job with this record here. Yeah, records are meant to be lit. I mean, this is pretty to look at, but you gotta play this shit, man. It really does make that much of a difference. But yeah, if you're into classic heavy metal, Summerlands is the band to be checking out. Definitely support this release. Continuing on with heavy metal, we have a 2016 reissue of something that came out almost almost 35, 40 years ago? I might be off with the math here, but this came out in 1980, and this album is a new wave of British heavy metal masterpiece. This is Angel Witch with Angel Witch. Yes! I remember a couple of years ago when I went to Houston with some friends of mine to see Revenge for Destroying Texas Fest, and we were jamming a whole lot of heavy metal and black metal and death metal and all that other stuff. But then we put on someone put some heavy metal on, and one of the things they put on was Angel Witch. And I remember listening to their comeback record, As Above, So Below, that came out a couple of years ago. And I never really got to hear much of this band's older stuff, because I know this band has been around for decades. But listening to something classic like Angel Witch really made me respect these guys a hell of a lot more. I mean, this is such a great record. Way ahead of its time, vocally, lyrically, musically. There's just a lot of great, memorable things to know about a release like Angel Witch. I love the singing. I love the title track of this release. Songs like White Witch, Confused, Sweet Danger, Angel of Death. Absolutely phenomenal. And I'm glad that a release like this is being made available again, because a lot of people really do need to know where the history and the roots of heavy metal comes from. And I believe a release like Angel Witch is very crucial to the history of the new wave of British heavy metal. I mean, this is a very important release. So anyway, here's the front cover. I love this artwork here. This is very beautiful. Here's the back cover. A lot of authenticity being brought to this release, because you have the old original label that put this out, Bronze Records. 2016 Real Gone Music. Yeah, this came out in 1980 originally. And this is limited to 1,000 copies. And the vinyl color on this is also something worth looking in amazement at. This is on a fire colored vinyl. I believe that's what the label sticker said. This is on a bronze, what am I saying? red and orange merge to represent the fire of Angel Witch here. Side B. Labels are very authentic in nature. Very much to look like how it used to look all those decades ago. And it also sounds amazing too. It really does sound wonderful. But yeah, if you are into classic heavy metal, this should really be a part of your collection. So this is Angel Witch with Angel Witch. Check this out. And I said that we had torturous metal in this video. We started with Torture, and now we're going to finish with Torture with another 2016 release. And this is something that I really think would appeal to anybody into US black metal. This is seriously some amazing stuff. This is Torture Chain with Wasting Syndrome. Darkest Heavy, 2016 release. There's really not a lot that I know about Torture Chain other than the fact that I remember Eric Bauer talked about this to me a long while back. I believe he showed me the record of this, and judging by how I normally feed off of his vibes whenever he talks about music or records, I immediately look up. I mean, because I didn't really know too much about it, but I looked it up, saw that it was on sale through Larval Productions. I grabbed it, bought it, almost pretty much bought it on a whim, and decided to wait until it showed up to really fully immerse myself in the experience. But there's really not too much known about a project like this. We don't really know who's involved with it, who plays and who does what. It's very mystifying and intriguing, but this style of music that's being played is just really wonderful. I love the vocal work, I love the musicianship, I love the vibes. It just feels dark, it feels disgusting. I love that Torture Chain gives off these types of vibes. I believe this is the second album from Torture Chain. I know this band has been around for quite a good little while, so I really have a lot of digging and research to do when it comes to finding out more about this band's body of work. But what I have heard of it, it is really fantastic. And it's funny I showed that Summerlands record earlier because I believe Arthur Risk did some production work for this particular release, and it really does show in how really awesome this record sounds. It brings out the best in the musicianship that's being brought here. So yeah, one of the best US black metal releases to come out in 2016. Definitely check out Torture Chain. So anyway, here's a front cover. Very badass artwork. And I love this logo here too. This is a very badass logo. Back cover. It's only 3 songs. Yeah, these 3 songs are absolutely worth your time and attention. Comes with a sheet here. Very intriguing sheet. Somewhat of a quote here. Additional artwork. Credits and information. Torturer. That's the guy who's behind this project, and he does some amazing work here. And standard black vinyl, nothing too special to show here. I don't know if you're able to see that well. 1 and 2. Yeah, great sounding record too. Really solid US black metal. If you want to know what's been coming out this year, this is really another record to be checking out. So yeah, this is Torture Chain with Wasting Syndrome. And on that note, I'm going to conclude this video. I'm going to leave you some selected links to some of the bands I talked to you about here in this video. If you happen to have heard or own any of these releases, definitely let me know what you think and how you feel about them. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm going to conclude this video. Thanks all for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. And until next time, Army Hell out.